morning. Welcome to this morning's Pajama Talks. I'm super glad that you're here. Coffee. So today we're talking about using your voice and how you can best do that, maybe with some suggestions that I've learned along the way. First, I want to say that using your voice can be difficult. And I think that depending on how you were raised, I can only speak from my own experience. And so I'm not going to try to speak for anybody else's experience. I'm only going to be able to speak from my own and my upbringing and my generation. But for sure, when I was coming up, there was a lot of messaging around just being good, being kind, being nice, be nice. And there was certainly some messaging around be quiet and hush and be quiet. And even if it wasn't spoken, certainly I received all of that and took that all in. So using my voice became in some ways really difficult. It became difficult to use it because it felt like there was going to be on the other end of using my voice some huge punishment or some huge repercussion of some sort that would be really scary and bad. So that's kind of where I'm coming from, is from the idea that it's been challenging for me to find my voice and use my voice. Those have been two things that have been really challenging for me. So over the course of the past year or so, I've been practicing using my voice about things that I really care about. And it's hard and it's scary. And I've learned a few things. And I thought I might share some of those things with you, and maybe they could be helpful. And maybe you've got some things that you have been practicing about using your voice that you could share with me and others. So the first thing that I have really has been helpful to me is for me to know your why. For me to know why it's important for me to use my voice in the situation that I'm in. Because for me, knowing my why keeps me really grounded in why I'm getting uncomfortable. Oh, there's a reason why I am using my voice. It's because I want to stand up to X. I want to bring light to X. It's something of weight to me. It's important to me. And it keeps me grounded in the reason. There's a reason why I'm getting uncomfortable. And that reason is important to me. So knowing your why, I think, is really important because it kind of keeps you grounded in your truth. The second thing I would say is to practice, and maybe not practice on big stuff. As someone who has gotten into really honestly, a lot of uncomfortable conversations over the past year since I've started standing up against things that are meaningful to me, I found it best to start practicing with the small stuff. So that when the big stuff happens, you don't freak out and lose it right in the middle of it. So start to notice when you want to use your voice in the small stuff in life. I don't like how you're talking to me right now. Can you take 5 seconds and reapproach? Can you please do the dishes? It's making me crazy and it's your turn to do the dishes. I know these are small. Yes, that's the point, is practice using your voice. Sorry, I've got a lot happening here. Start practicing and using your voice in the small stuff. Start speaking your truth in the small stuff, because it matters. Your voice and opinion matters. And also, then you're going to start to be able to stand firmly in whatever it is you're trying to say, when there may be pushback and blowback, and there will be. Just we'll talk about that later. I kind of said it, but I'm going to say it as its own point. Know that you're worthy of having a voice. Your voice matters. And even though you may have been taught that it doesn't, it does. Your voice matters. And even more, your voice can make a difference. And so, whatever it is that you feel strongly about, it's important for you to know that you're worthy of having a voice and that your voice can make a difference. So it's good to practice using it. It's good to practice speaking up about things that you feel are important. The next thing I want to tell you is that there is power in speaking your truth. There's great power in it, and it's important. It's an important skill to have. But it's also a power, and therefore it's important to wield it knowing that there's power there. And I'm not sure how else to say that. I just want you to know that your voice can be very powerful. And especially when you're speaking from a place of truth, it can be a very powerful tool. And so know that there's power in using your voice. And if you feel powerless in any way, I want you to know that there's a place that you could nurture that will help you feel more powerful. I would say the next thing would be to know very clearly what your boundaries are. And the reason why that's important is because when you get pushback, some of that pushback might be disrespectful. And some of it might be painful. And some of it might be rude. And it's important to know what your hardline boundaries are. It's important for you to know that when you enter into discourse with people, that you know, yeah, I'm done and we're done here, so that you can shut it down in a way that whatever that makes sense to you. If it means, if you're on social media, if it means unfriending someone, if it means blocking someone, that you know what your hard lines are. Yeah, you don't get to speak to me disrespectfully. You know, you don't get to call me names. You know, whatever it is that your personal boundary is, it's important for you to just know it and be like, oh, when that comes up, I can shut it down. Come up with how you're going to shut it down too. Know that, you know, hard conversations sometimes result in loss. You might lose people. You know, it's, yep. And yet also you have to know that it's important for you to know what your level of treatment is. You can't talk to me like that. And if you're going to talk to me, there's a consequence for that. And knowing that ahead of time will prepare you for when it happens. The next thing I would say is to go slow. And this is a tool taught to me by a social justice teacher named Catrice Jackson. One of the best tools that she has taught me. When entering into difficult conversations, go slow. If you need to, take breaks. Sometimes when you're in a difficult conversation, this kind of rushing happens and you're in these emotions and you know, all your systems kind of whoosh and the heartbeat starts and sweat starts and you know, you're entering into potential conflict about a difficult conversation. in a difficult conversation. It's difficult. If you can go slow and take breaks and I need a minute. If you can slow down, you can calm, the winds that come up in these conflicts in yourself, and also you can stop yourself from reacting quickly from a place of habit. So, for example, when something has happened on social media, um, it's important for me to not respond very quickly because I will tend towards snark. I might tend towards, I don't know, snark's probably my go-to, but I might not be coming from the place of my highest intention. And so going slow helps me to choose my words carefully. It helps me to take a breath, get back into my why and why I'm talking about this. And it helps me just to kind of, stay focused and not get too distracted by all the other things that can be going on around me and to stay on point. So going slow helps all of that. And the last one is speak with your highest intention. Um, I think it's important to stay classy, speak with your highest intention. There's You don't need to go in the dirt. You don't need to be disrespectful. You don't need to call names. You don't need to go down into the dirt with people. You can simply stay above it, and you can speak clearly without going in the dirt. You can speak. You can stay very focused without heading into the dirt. And when people go there, that's on them. But you don't have to go down there. So choose your words carefully and stay in your highest intention when you're communicating in these difficult conversations. And finally, I'll just add that um, that it's okay for people to have different opinions than you do. It's okay for us to all have different opinions from each other. That's the world that we live in. But I do think that it would be great if when we are having these conversations to kind of remember, I'm drawing a picture. I might be here and you might be here, but there might be some areas here where we could meet in the middle. And it may be that it may be as basic as you have kids and I have kids, or you like coffee and I like coffee. It's just, it doesn't, we're human, we're humans, and where can we meet with common ground? We don't have to agree on everything, and that's okay. Um, so those are some suggestions that I have about using your voice. And I just want to remind you that using your voice and speaking your truth and doing it with your highest intention, you can really make positive change and positive impact in the world. So please do. I'm practicing too. Anyway, thanks for joining me for today's Pajama Talks. Have a great week.